Shabbat Shalom, Nicole.
Shabbat Shalom, Lakah.
Toda Yah for allowing us to see another Shabbat day. Prayfully, we'll see many, many more. It's not working. Yeah, no. Can you read the psalm for us today?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tehillim, Zadeh Beit Walaf, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, with thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Yahweh, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Most High, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth the fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Yahweh, art most high forevermore. Below thine enemies, O Most High, below thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. Mine horn shall exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire on the wicked that rise against me. The wretched shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of our Elohim. They shall still bring forth from an old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. To show that Yahweh is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Did I give you homework last week?
Yes.
What was the homework?
It was to do the one law again. To pick
Speak
one.
up.
It was to pick one law.
One?
Yeah, one from the 4 books, and then say where it's reiterated in Debarim.
Okay. And what'd you get? You can't see anything on the screen?
But not much to read. I got.
So it's gotten worse.
Well, it got better than it gets. Progressive.
I don't want you looking like that then. So you should have put it do it until I get that new one. Do it on your computer. Okay?
I have the thing up. It's.
What is it?
Shemot 20 and 3 and Debarim.
Look up 20 and 3. Shemot 20 and 3.
Debarim 5 and 7.
It's what is it? What is it? The law in 20?
Thou shalt have no other Elohim before me.
That's a longer one. It goes more than that, right?
No, it's just
That's it. And what else does it say in the one that he said?
what did you say?
Debarim
3 and 5, I think you said?
5 and 7.
Oh, 5 and 7.
It said the same thing.
I wanted you guys to use
Yeah.
your.
Yeah, it says exactly the same.
All right. I wanted you guys to use your mind to figure out a little bit more in depth, because I think I said that. Don't just go and get thou shalt not steal and go match it up. You understand what I'm saying? Get something that actually gives some more of an explanation, a more difficult law. You know? What'd you get?
I got Devonja blood. So it's 35:27.
Which is what we read last week, right? We read that other part yesterday.
Yeah,
It was in Debarim
right.
22, right?
Right.
So you got
So it's in 19 and 6.
a what? Of what?
Devarim, I'm sorry.
No, what book first it is in?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's in Bamidbar 35 and 27.
35 and 27, and then it's also found in Devarim 19, right? And
19
27.
and 6 and 19 and 12.
Because it talks, because Devarim 19 is about possession, right?
No, it talks about the avenger of blood when you got to get to him.
Oh, that's not about
before-
possession. 22 is about possession. Okay, what'd you get?
I did the law of usury, like when you.
Give me the chapter and verse.
in Shavuot 22 and 25, and then
Uh-huh.
Devarim 23 and 19.
Okay. What did you get?
I got a man with his stones broken can approach to offer, and I found it in Wayikra 20 and 6 and Devarim 18, 10 through 12.
So we understand that for the most part, whenever laws that are come up in Devarim, they're just being explained from when they were originally given, right?
Yes.
Because this period of time is when Moshe is doing Salika, the last minute things to get them ready to go cross over the Yarden to go and become the nation that they're supposed to become, right? So he has to prepare them to the best of his ability. Okay? Now we know that once they get there, they're there for about 3, maybe 4 generations before they start to act up again. You know, which is usually what happens. Which is why men are commanded to teach their sons and their sons' sons 2 generations. So in hopes that there's never a generation missed. You understand? So this week's portion is called Tazay, right?
Yes.
Tazay, right?
Yes.
Which means to go forth, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who's reading first this week?
I am.
Let's go.
Okay. Debarim, Kaf, Aleph, Uyod. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Ki, Teze, Lamil, Kama, Al, Oibeka, Untanu, Yahovah, Eloheka. Oh, now. Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Yahovah, Eloheka, Biyadeka,
No, bit.
Biyadka.
Bit.
Oh.
No, she said B.
Oh, Bid. Well, I don't even know what I said. How does it say? Biyadeka. Okay. Washa, Bita.
Wisha.
Bita. Shebyo.
What is it?
Shibyo.
Okay.
Shibyo. Wehra Ita. Bashibya. Okay. Ashet. Yapat. Yir. Sorry.
Yir.
Yipat. Toor. Wakashakta. Ba. Wela. Wakta. Lek. Lak. Leka. Laisha. Wehabi Bay. Wait, let me say that again. Wa. Habeta. El. Tok. Beitek. Teka. Wagil. Ka. Wait, let me say that again. Wagil Ka. Et. Rosha. Weash Ta. Et. Yi Par Neka. How do I say? Right. See?
Yeah, that's
Par
Zag.
Neka. Okay, hallelujah.
No.
Oh, wait.
It's Porneha.
Par Neha. Okay, hallelujah.
Wait,
Okay, what happened?
the last word?
Mm-hmm.
Say it. You pronounce it, Khalil?
It's Ziporneha.
Neha.
Neha.
So when do you pronounce the yod?
I don't know.
The yod is never silent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you pronounce it if you pronounce the word, the yod?
Would be Nay.
Nay. Right, because it can't be. Just because it doesn't have a zayt ray under it, that yod has to be pronounced. It's not a silent letter. You
Oh,
understand?
So it's Zipod Neha.
Neha. There you go.
Alright. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and Yada Elohim have delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare all her nails.
Right.
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off of her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month.
Now, let me ask you a question. What does this tell you? What do you get from this about this woman? What can you know for certain about this woman?
That
What?
no.
What? No, yes, no, what?
She's still Betula.
Right. She was still in her parents' house. Okay?
Right.
A lot of people want to say that this could be a woman that's a widow because her husband was killed. No, that's not the truth. Because she's bewailing her father and her mother, which means that her father and her mother were killed. Yes? Her father because he's a male in that place, and the mother because she was already his wife. Yes? So they were already killed. So she's bewailing her household. Okay? If she was a widow, it would not be the same.
Would they kill her too, even though
Of
she's
course. No. Hold on. The only way she would be a widow in most cases is because her husband was killed in this war. Do you understand?
widow?
Who gets killed in the wars when you
No,
take
I'm
over?
just
Oh,
saying.
no. I'm not asking you to rebut. I'm asking you to answer my question. Listen to the question. Who gets killed when a nation is told to be eradicated?
Men,
Okay.
right.
Who else?
The women that, the wives that have known.
Mm-hmm. Who
And
else?
the little ones, the males, the little males.
Right. The only ones that are left alive are what?
The women, the Betula.
No. You say, see, again, you're using the English. The women, right? But the little girls. Okay? All up until whatever age that they did not, they still Betula. So in those times, we have to be realistic. If they started their time of separation, they were ready to be married. Whatever that is. Okay? So all of the girls that are still Betula, if there was a 15-year-old who was Betula, she would stay alive too. But all the rest of them that were not Betula, die with the rest of the people. Yes?
Yeah.
Tamshi.
Manual 13. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife.
So now, you let her bewail her mother and father, right? Because at the end of the day, no man wants a wife that despises him, right? So now, what do you think the month is for?
Oh, for no, that's not. That's wrong.
So she can get to know him, a courtship. Is it
Either to get to know him, but also to get to know the other people that are there. Do you understand? Remember, there's two things here. She can either make the best out of a situation that wasn't the most ideal, because remember, her family died. She's got to make the best of a situation, or she can say, I want no parts to you. I can't look at you as anything other than a part of a people that killed my people. Do you understand? And no man wants that. So then he has to, whatever it says to do, which we will read, because he's not going to keep that. She's going to hate him forever. Now, some girls will say, you know what? I have nothing to go back to. He's not a bad dude. He just did what happens in war. You understand? So I can live here, make a new life here, have children, live a halfway decent life here with these people, But it doesn't always go that way. Tamshit.
Okay, 14. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go, whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for
So
money.
now when it says, if thou have no delight in her, what does that tell you? Because he had delight in her to take her, right? So why would he have no delight in her? because her anger and her hate for what happened to her people will not let her connect to him. You understand? Men understand that. Men understand when a woman is not connected to you. He doesn't want to deal with that for the rest of his life. Do you understand? So he'd rather say, you know what? I'd rather just deal with, I got to move her away because I'm not going to deal with that. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to pick peace over everything else. Because war is what it is. You understand? He had to do what he had to do. And all the men there had to do what they had to do. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have to accept a woman that just cannot even fathom the thought of loving him, who come from a people that killed her whole family. Do you understand? Tamshi.
But thou shalt not sell her at all for money.
Right, because now you can't make merchandise out of her. You understand? This is just a situation where she couldn't bring herself to love him because of the situation. You understand? Maybe if the situation was different, maybe if he had went and paid a dowry for her, maybe it would be a totally different situation, but this is a situation where she cannot get over that. You understand? Tamshi.
Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her.
Right, because you have ruined her. Yes? What's so funny?
No.
Okay? Tamshi.
15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and the other hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated.
So now, this is a very funny way that they put things, right? It says hated, right? But what it really is explaining is, if a man have two wives and he have a different feeling for one over the other, a man is going to love his wives, right? But clearly, no one can love anything equally, right? Everyone loves individually, right? I have 5 children, right? I love them all, but I love them all differently. Do you understand? Because every person is different, right? And you have to do things that way. So I'm a man that had 2 wives at a certain point, right? But you deal with them individually. You love different things about them. You understand? Mm-hmm. And just like that, you don't like different things about them. You understand? Because that's normal. So this is saying, like, we got to put it in the concept of, like how Yaakov and Raquel and Leah, right? We know he loved both of them, right? But he chose Raquel first. I was given an understanding recently that in secular history and some other books, it describes that they already had a deal. His mother and Laban had a deal already that the first daughter would be for Esau and Raquel would be for Yaakov. So this was something that was already in his head because he was the second born. So when he met her, this was already in his head, that you are for the second one. Do you understand? Right. But since Esau went the way that he went, Leah was left without a husband. That's kind of why they say Laban did what he did. Because I'm not going to give you my second daughter because the first son never worked out. Right? Which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. But it is not per se explained in Torah, which a lot of things we know we have to look for a little more. Right? So that is something that's come to me recently, that I had a conversation with somebody about that. And it makes, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. So, but in that case, he had to marry the first. Well, Laban made it so that he married the first one. So he ended up getting them both. Right? Because we understand that Torah was around before mankind. Because he understood in his head, I'm really not supposed to marry them both. You understand what I'm saying? But the way it worked out, he had to stay with it that way. Because it wasn't his fault. He had to do the honorable thing. But it says, if one is loved more than the other, you can't just designate the second wife, her firstborn son, as the double portion child. In the case of Yaakov, it happened because Reuben transgressed his father. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's what took him out of the play. Had he not done that, he would have gotten the blessing. Because Yaakov understood how it goes. Right? Tamshi.
Okay, I'm at the end of 16. Which is indeed the firstborn. 17. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
Remember what Yaakov says about Reuben. He tells him this. You're the son of my strength. But you moved against me the way he did. Right?
Yes.
That's why he lost his double portion. Because it was rightfully his. Until he moved the way that he moved. Tamshi.
18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father, or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastised him, will not hearken unto them.
So now, it says, who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother. What's the voice of his mother? Nobody? The mother is like Debarim. She reiterates the laws that the father puts down. So she is the echo chamber. When the father says something, the mother goes with what the father says. And when the son needs to hear it, and she's around, she has to give it to him the way the father would give it to him. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Tamshi.
19. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place.
So now, this child is what? And it says son, but it doesn't mean a little child. This is talking about somebody who knows better. So let's say Khalil's age. Or back then, they were getting married early. So 15, 16 years old. Let's say 15, 16 years old. You know better, right?
Yes.
You know better. You're being what they call because it's more than just not doing what they say do. Okay? This child has done something that's going to be punishable by death. This young person. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This is our son. He is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard.
Glutton.
Glutton and a drunkard.
A glutton and a drunkard. So if he's drinking, what is he? He's grown, right?
Yes.
He's grown. This dude, this man, has gone against his mother and father. He's put his hands on his mother and father. I know some people in Israel that have done that too. And they talk it away as he has mental illness. Right? When in actuality, some of the elders in the community should have took him to the back of the temple and shot him in his head. But that won't ever happen. Not in this place. Because people fear for the fact that they won't be free anymore in this place. Or their perception of freedom. But if we're claiming to live Torah, that should not happen. At the very least, the men of that community should have took him to the back of the temple and beat him within an inch of his life. And let him recover from that. So he knows never to do it again. But we don't do that either. You understand? Tamshi.
21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die.
So now, in this case, all the men of the city will stone him to death. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And if a man who have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be not to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree.
And he be put to death.
I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I be looking for it sometimes.
And thou shalt hang him on a tree. His body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he is that hanged is the curse of Elohim, that thy land be not defiled, which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance.
So now, a man that is hung, his body must be buried before that day is out. Yes?
Yeah.
Who's
I
reading?
was wrong. My law was you can't go after familiar spirits. I don't know why I said that, because I wrote the thing in my notes, but I did different because I couldn't find that anywhere else. So that's my law.
You couldn't find it in Debarim?
No, I found it in Debarim, but I didn't find it anywhere else. I don't know why. I looked.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Anybody else can find it for him?
What, the familiar
Yeah, the law about familiar spirits.
No. I found that. I'm talking about the man with his stones broken. I couldn't find that anywhere else, but I found the familiar spirits. That's what I did.
Did anybody else hear what he first said? What did he say?
He said, I was wrong. My actual law that I got was the one with the familiar spirits, because the other one we couldn't find in another book other than Debarim.
Is that what he said? Is that what he said? Is that what he said?
I wasn't.
Apparently none of you listened, because that's not what he said. That's what he cleaned up. But that's not what he said. What he originally said, because when I ask him a question, he gets stumbled. What he originally said was, the original law that I came up with was the law of familiar spirits. But since I couldn't find that in Debarim, I chose the other law. And I said, what? And then you said, oh, no. I picked the other law and I couldn't find that in Devarim. That's what he said. Yes?
That's not what I heard.
No, yeah, that's not. I
I
don't
heard-
think I said that.
I heard you.
I know what I said.
No.
You just said something about writing
You
it down.
think
You wrote it
think
down.
you know what you said because you're thinking about it in your head. But what actually came out was what I said. That's why I'm asking. The only reason why I would ask you, you couldn't find the law of familiar spirits in the law? That's why I asked you that. Because I heard what you said. You might have meant it the way she's saying it, but that's not what you said. You understand what I'm telling you?
No, because I know what I said. Maybe you heard it differently. Because if they heard what I said, and I heard
What?
and I heard
What?
what I
Record
said.
what someone said.
No, it's on record. It's on record. I'll go back and check it. So you couldn't find the broken stones?
Yeah, I couldn't find that anywhere else.
Where is that in the law?
And Devarim, it's in Devarim 23 and 1.
23 and 1?
Yeah, 23 and 1.
But there is a law about one who is blemished.
No, yeah, I found that one. but
That's the
I-
law.
That's
the law.
I don't know if that was the same one though. I
Yeah,
did
that's the
find that
law.
one. I don't know if that was
That's
the
in
same
White
one.
Finale.
Yeah,
Where is that in Wayikra?
I forgot, but I know I found it.
Just saw it.
It's Wayikra 21 and 18.
Let's see, Vayikra 21:18. Are we keeping you up? Go to the verse before it.
Oh, it does say in 20, or have his stones broken, but it was like so much. It's like or crookback or dwarf, or he was eye or he was scurvy. I didn't think that was. I thought it had to be like the exact like the law, like if his parts member cut off.
But
or
it tells you
stones
that.
broken.
But it tells you that. That's what I'm saying. These are the things that just because it didn't go word for word, but it's here. It's clearly here. So this is what's being talked about in Debarim 21:1. Yes? 1 and 2. Yes? So it is there. All you have to do is read one verse above. That's why I asked you to tell me where the one of blemish is, because I know it's there. Yes?
Yes.
In 21, it's giving you every bit of what it could be. Do you understand?
Yes.
Every bit of what it can be. But in 23, it just condenses it to, you have to understand that it's already been talked about. That it's not, you cannot let anything blemish offer up to Yah. All right, who's reading 22?
I am.
Let's go.
Debarim, Kav Bewal, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Lo, tir et shor, akika o et seyo, nidakim, wehit alamta, mehem, hashev, teshibim, laakika. Wit'in lo, quaro, akika, eleka, willow, yedato, wa'asafto, el, tok, beiteka, wahaya, unka, ad, dirosh, akika, oto, wahasheboto, lo. Wikain, taase, lakamoto, wikain, taase, lishin lato, wikain, taase, likal, abedat, akika, asher, tobad, menu, munsata, lo, tukal, lehit alim. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep.
This is the chapter of the laws of possession. Okay? Tamshi.
Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother.
Okay.
And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee unto thy brother. Seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost thing of thy brothers, which he hath lost, and thou hast found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination unto Yah thy Elohim.
Okay. Do we understand that?
Yes.
It should be very self-explanatory. Right? Women, stuff that is pertaining to women, men shall not wear. And things that pertain to men, women shall not wear. Yes?
Yes.
So now people like to make the argument, this is talking about the garments of war. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. If it's for a man, leave it for a man. In this place, the lines are blurred. Everybody does whatever the heck they want to do. You see men dressing in dresses. That's not how it's supposed to be. Yes? Most High said that is an abomination. You dress with clothing for your gender. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree, or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young, or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young.
Right. Because you're going to destroy the whole family. You don't take all of it. If you're going to take the eggs, you take the eggs. If you're going to take the dam, you take the dam and you leave the eggs alone. Tamshi.
But thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days. When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof. That thou bring not blood upon thine house, if any man fall from thence. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with divers seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown, and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Right. Now, you know, I've taught you that this has two different meanings, right? Diverse seeds is diverse, which is different, right? You don't want to make a watermelon apple. Do you understand?
Yes.
Watermelons you plant, apple seeds you plant, they become their own fruits. Yes?
Right.
But this also leads you to also understanding that Bnei Yisrael is to only marry within their line. Okay? That's the best thing that we can do. Okay? We see that men have done it differently. You understand? And a lot of times it doesn't always work out. But even those men would marry in the line of their progenitor. Like Abraham would marry, all the women that he took were from the line of Shem. Yes? Which makes sense. But you see, when it became a problem was when men like Esau married the Canaanite daughters. Yes?
Yes.
You know, and these things also when they found out about Moshe and his Cushite wife, right?
Yeah.
There was an issue there. Yes?
Yeah.
But we know that his circumstance was different, right?
Yes.
But the wife that he took, that he had children with, was Midian, right?
Yeah.
Which was Zipporah, yes?
Yes.
Which was also from Abraham. Tamshi.
110. Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together. Thou shalt not wear a garment of divers sorts, as of woolen and linen together.
You understand that?
Yes.
Woolen and linen are not to be worn together. Why? Yeah, but if you just want to go to the basics, because sure they are what they call individually, they're called super garments. Okay, they have energy, right? And when you put them together, they cancel out. So it makes you more susceptible to disease. But if you just want to look at it at a basic fundamental, one is from an animal and one is from a plant. You don't mix those. Right? Wool comes from sheep, right?
Yes.
And linen comes from where? Cotton. Yes?
Yeah.
So it comes from a plant. We don't mix those two. But they are both super fibers. You want to look it up on your own. They have a very high frequency. Okay? And when you put those two frequencies together, they cancel each other out, so they go to zero. Okay? Tamshi.
Thou shalt make thee fringes upon the four quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself. If any man take a wife, and go in unto her, and hate her, and give occasion of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
See, now what he's doing is that he took a woman who was clearly Betula, and he doesn't necessarily like her, for whatever reason. He says, she was not Betula when I got her. That would mean that, what would happen if that was true?
She played the whore.
Yes, and she would, what would happen to her?
Oh, she would get pregnant. No, she would die.
How do you go from one extreme to the next? She would die, right?
Right.
Because she played the harlot in her father's house. So that's an evil report, which is also known as a what? What is an evil report also known as? A lie. Yes? You remember when the spies were sent out? What did they come back with? And which is also what? A lie. Okay, so now, this man lies on this woman's chastity. Right? She could have died for that. But the investigation clearly shows that that wasn't true because the tokens of virginity her father has. Tamshi.
15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's Betulim unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her.
Mm-hmm.
And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's Betulim. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he had brought up an evil name upon a Betula of Israel.
So now, he gets punished. He gets physically punished. Yes?
Yes.
He doesn't die, but he gets physically punished. And that punishment, the weight of the silver that is put on him, he has to give it to the father. He has to pay them now. Tamshi.
And she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his
So
days.
now what? He can never divorce her. Ever. Tamshi.
But if this thing be true, and the tokens of Betulim be not found for the damsel,
Right.
then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put evil away from Israel.
Because they did what? They committed adultery. So this is what they call consensual. They both made a decision to do this. The man knew she was married. The woman chose to step out on her husband. Right?
Right.
So that's adultery. They both died. Yes? Let's continue.
If a damsel that is a Betula be betrothed unto an husband, a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put evil away from among you.
We understand this again, right?
Yes.
The fact that she didn't cry out shows what?
Consent.
That she was part of it. She was part of the violation. So she dies and he dies. This is both understanding of adultery. Yes? Tamshi.
But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Stop. How do we know he forced her? She cried out. Yes?
Yeah.
We understand that. There's a word for this in English. We know what it is. It starts with R, right? So what is the punishment for that offense which starts with R?
Death.
Death, right? In any situation, right? Not here. You just go to jail for that. But it should be death, right? So the offense here is the taking her who was betrothed, which means she was married, by force, which is the R word. Yes? He dies for that. She doesn't die. Because it's not her fault. Yes? Tamshi.
But unto the damsel that thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter.
Do you understand? So this is the same as a man who's in the field that's working with another man, and he swings the axe and the axe head flies off and he kills the man. Right? It's not his fault. As long as he gets to the city of refuge, he's fine. Right? Same thing here. The woman did nothing wrong. Nothing. And she is not to be punished. Yes?
Yes.
Being violated is more than punished enough. You understand? She should not be punished at all. But this man should be punished. Tamshi.
For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
She cried, and there was none to save her. You understand? Tamshi.
If a man find a damsel that is Betula, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found.
Stop. You see the difference here? Huh?
Yeah.
You see the difference here? What's the differences? Just tell me a difference that you see.
I see that she wasn't betrothed.
Right. She's a virgin. She's not betrothed. She's not spoken to by anybody. Right? Then it also doesn't say that he takes her by force. Right? She also doesn't cry out. Right? This is a man that finds a woman and he asks the questions. All the questions. Are you betrothed? No. Are you this and that? No. And in street terms, he talks. He gives her game. Right? She likes him. He gives her game. And they end up being with each other. Right? He did not force her. He did not R her. She consented, right? It was not her right to consent because she is in her father's house, right? So the thing that's broken here by both of them is they put the carriage before the horse. He did not go talk to her father for her. You understand? He went the back door and he took her first. Now, there is a punishment to this. Tamshi.
I was on 29, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Stop. Now, in the law, you can find this, yes? But it tells you one particular part that's a little different. Because when he first goes to the father, it says, if the father utterly refuse, right? What is the father refusing? No. The father of the daughter. He's the one that would be getting the money. What is he utterly refusing? Because it tells you, find the law. Find the law. So that I can show you the comparison. I think it's in Midbar. 25. No, it's in Shemot. 22:17. Shemot 22:17. Go to it. Because I'm gonna show you the difference. You got it? 22:17. All right? Go, let's start off at 16. It's the same law, reiterated. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. That's the same law. But this is where the confusion comes in. And if her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. What's the dowry of virgins? Because it's a penalty. We just read it. We read it in Debarim. We get the explanation of what it is. 50 shekels.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
So we understand that. When it says, if her father utterly refused to give her unto him, what does that mean? Can he say, no, you can't have her to be your wife? Can he say that? Think. Can he say that? He can? He can?
Yeah, I think you can.
He can?
I think you can.
Probably won't.
No. I didn't ask you that. Let's stop with the he can. Right? if that is the case and he can, what would happen to her after?
No other man would take her.
No. Think. You just read the law. Think. Use the law. It's in the same chapter. She consented. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if her father does not, if he has the right not to give her to this man or to approve it, what happens to her?
Oh, she'll die
Why?
because she played the whore.
She played the harlot in her father's house. So do you mean to tell me that the law is going to allow you to kill her because you refuse to give her to the man that's already humbled her? In consent? No. What this is speaking to is the man who laid with his daughter comes to him and asks him for forgiveness for doing what he did. Now the father is angry because they did that. But he knows that that girl is his now. But he's angry because you took his possession without asking him. Do you understand? But she's already belongs to that man. Now is the penalty. Now he has to pay him the 50 shekels. Do you understand?
Yes.
But their relationship may not be good. The father and him may not be good. Time may fix that. He may see what good the man does with his daughter and how he treats his daughter and how they have children or whatever. And things may change down the road. But no way, shape, or form is that girl not this man's woman. Do you understand?
Yes.
The law does not permit that. But for years, we've taught it the other way. And we've been wrong. Right?
Yes.
We've been wrong. We see the situation with Shechem and Dinah, right? And a lot of people still teach that he took her by force. We don't know that. We don't know that. We know that he didn't bring her back because he must have understood that at the end of the day, this is his woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice, when he went back to talk to Yaakov, what does he tell him? Don't ask me as much dowry, right? Because clearly he already put the cart before the horse. Can't pay a dowry, right? Now, Yaakov, all he has to do is render a punishment, a penalty for doing that. And what do the sons do?
Kill all of them.
Yeah.
No, that's not what they did. What they did was they rendered a damn penalty. What was the penalty?
Oh, was it all the men had to be circumcised?
Yes. All of your males must be circumcised, right? Clearly, judgment came after, right? Judgment came after. They did that. But clearly, Yaakov was not thinking on that level. He was thinking, I can't do anything about it now, according to the law. She is his woman. The only thing I can do now is try to get the best out of the situation after. Yes? So do we understand where this law is reiterated, but it gives you a clearer understanding? Because it tells you in Debarim, she's yours and you could never put her away. Yes? But if you only had this, you would be confused. Does it make more sense now?
Yes.
Does it make more sense now? Because clearly by law, if he says no, I want her back, he has to now take her to the elders and they got to kill her. What sense would that make? What sense would that make? She consented in the situation, which means what? She likes him. Yes? So now you just gotta deal with what happens. In this country, you know what they used to call that? Shotgun weddings. Shotgun weddings. When a young man would find a young girl and they would like each other and they would have relations and the girl would come out pregnant, the father of the girl would go over and force the young man to marry her. Force him. They called it a shotgun wedding. Because either you marry her or I kill you. You understand? Because you're not going to bring shame upon my house. Do you understand? This is where things come from. Everything originates from the Torah. Everything. So, all these years, Torah, we get understanding as we go along. But all these years, I've always been taught it the other way. And there are still people that teach it the other way. People that I'm close to that still teach it the wrong way. But if we're looking at Torah for what it is, there's no other explanation. Do you understand?
Yes.
Let's go back to, where are you in the 22 and what?
30. Last verse.
22 and 30. Tamshi, go ahead.
A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So we understand that Debarim is the law of possession. Yes?
Yeah.
And how we deal with possession. What are your shoes? Where?
I'm in the bathroom.
A bee?
Yeah, in the bathroom. I was swatting it.
No. Can't be. Press pause. All right, you done? So, 22, remember, law of possession. Yes? Debarim. Who's reading 23?
I am.
Let's go. Loudly, please.
Debarim, Kaf, Gimel, La'aluf. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Lo, Gabo, no, Yabo, Hitsu, Daka, Karut, Shafka, Bikhal, Yahoah, Lo, Yabo, Mamzir, Bikhal, Yahoah, Gam, Do, Asiri, Lo, Yabo, Lo, Bikhal, Yahoah, Lo, Yabo, Amoni, Muwo Abi.
Wait, say what you saying?
Muwo Abi.
No, it's Wu Mo Abi.
That's what I just said.
No,
No.
you're saying Wu.
You said
saying
mu
mu
wo
wo
abi.
So what is it?
It's Wu Mo Abi.
Oh, so it's not with the first one, it's with the second one?
No, it's
You-
you're saying
What you
Mu.
did was, you dyslexified it. You turned the letters around.
Yeah.
You inverted the mem and the wow, and you turned them around.
So,
You made
okay.
the mem go first and the wow go second. So we're gonna get you evaluated because that's dyslexia.
So
I'm
what
scared.
is it?
Wu Mo Abi.
Okay. Bikhal, Yahoah, Dam, Do, Asiri, Lo, Yabo, Lahem, Bikhal, Yahoah, Ad, Olam. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He that is wounded in the stones, or has his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of Yah.
All right. You see what we talked about, right? And this is talking about the law that we read already. Anything that's blemished cannot offer to Yah. They can do other things if they're in Lewi. but they cannot actually be the one offering to Yah. Right? We understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And I see why you messed it up, because there was a wow, mem, and a wow. So what you did was you inverted. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tamshi.
A bastard shall
A
not.
what?
Oh, a mamzer.
A mamzer.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
A mamzer shall not enter into the congregation.
The
of
reason
Yah.
why we don't use the word bastard is because in English that doesn't mean the same thing. In English, the word bastard means a child that is illegitimate, which means that his parents weren't married. Okay? Which is nonsense. Because that doesn't, we understand that once a man lays with a woman, that essentially is his wife. Right? Even though there's a process to it. The only way that it goes the other way, we just read, is if he puts the carriage before the horse, but he still has to go back and pay a penalty. Yes? Okay. So now, the mamzir is a child brought forth out of a wicked bed. Right? Can you name a mamzir in the scripture? Kinaan. Yes?
Yes.
Because Kinaan is described as Ham going and uncovering the skirt of his father, which is his wife, and a child was conceived from that situation.
Right.
Yes? So that is a mamzir. Tamshi. No, it's not, kind. It's nothing. It's nothing. Tamshi.
Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of Yah.
So now, the mamzir, even until the 10th generation, shall he not enter into the congregation of Yah. Tamshi.
An Amori or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of Yah. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yah forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way, when ye came forth out of Mitzrayim, and because they hired against thee Bil'am, the son of Beor of Petor of Mesopotamia.
Can you speak up, please? Because you're mumbling.
To curse thee. Nevertheless, Yah thy Elohim would not hearken unto Bil'am, but Yah thy Elohim turned the curse into a blessing unto thee.
So now, this is speaking about men, yes?
Yes.
Within the congregation, because we understand that the congregation of Yah is men, yes? Clearly, we know that this is the case because Melech Dawid's great-grandmother was a Moabite, yes?
Yes.
But it's not the same. Remember, women are not classified as the same because that is a descendant of Abraham too, or of Terach, let's say, and a descendant of Terach, because the Moabites came from who? Lot. Yes? So that is permissible. But we're talking about the males. Males cannot be led into the congregation of Yah from those people. Yes? Tamshi.
Because Yah thy Elohim loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity, all thy days forever. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomi, for he
Edomi.
Edomi, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Mitzrayim, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begot of them shall enter into
the sons
that are begot of them shall enter into the congregation of Yah in their 3rd generation.
So now, a Edomite and a Mitzrayim can enter into the congregation if they convert by the 3rd generation. Yes?
Yes.
Before that, they could be what? Their relatives could be what? Servants. Yes? Servants. So now if a man comes in, he's a servant, he decides he does not want to leave his master, and he gets the earring put in his ear, and he stays until the year of Jubilee, and he has children, and his children have children, then those children can go into the congregation. Do you understand? Yes? Chumsy.
9. When the host goeth forth against thine enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness, that chanceth him by night, then he shall go abroad out the camp, and he shall not come within the camp.
You know what that's called, right, Kalel? Okay. Tamshi.
11. But it shall be, when evening cometh on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again.
Right, because it's an uncleanness for 24 or for the period of time of one day, right? Not even, I shouldn't say 24 hours, because it could happen in the afternoon, and as long as you shower before the sun goes down and change your clothes, you're good the next day. Yep, Tamshi.
12. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, and thou shalt dig therewith, and thou shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
Stop. What does that mean, Kyle? What are they talking about?
You said.
You were zoned out?
Yeah.
Why? You know why? Because you have nothing to read. Get the book and open up to where we are. Because there's no reason, just because you don't have your phone doesn't mean you can't have a book. Open up to Debarim 23. Can you read that verse again for him? Listen to what she's saying.
And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
Stop. What is he talking about? If you're out to war, right? You have a paddle with you. A paddle is like a shovel. Okay? And if you have to ease yourself in the woods, what does that mean? What do you think it would mean?
Bury yourself.
Bury yourself? Bury yourself?
No.
If you have to make poop. So you go to the woods, you dig a hole. Listen to me. Listen to me. You dig a hole because you get nervous when I ask you questions. You can't get nervous. You dig a hole, you poop in the hole, and you put the dirt right back on the poop. You don't just leave that out because that's disgusting and that breeds disease. Right? That's why the Black Plague killed so many of European people, because European people are filthy. They would poop and pee in the street, and all of that is around everybody else. So it's just passing disease. You bury your poop, which is why in modern day times we have toilet bowls, because the poop is flushed away and it's gotten out of your area. If you had to sit in a house with nothing but poop and pee, you would be sick all the time. You understand? Because that's how your body gets rid of filth and waste and all type of bacteria. Yes?
Yeah.
That's why even in the Torah it tells you keep a paddle with you so you can dig a hole, you squat, you get rid of your stuff, you bury it back. You understand? What do dogs do when they go to the bathroom in the dirt? They dig a hole, they go in the hole, and they put the dirt back, right? And that's a dog. Yes? That's why they do it, because it's innate in them to do. When they're in the street and they're on concrete, they don't make it doesn't register to them, so they just leave it there. That's why their owner has to pick it up. But if they were in the woods or something, they would dig a hole. It's natural to them. Right? If you have a cat in the house, you have a kitty litter, the kitty kicks the kitty litter over his poop. Because they understand that that's natural to them. Because if they don't do it, then everything is going to be tainted. You understand? Okay. But yeah, people can't bury themselves.
I thought the wrong thing by easy though.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to keep laughing at you.
All right, come on.
14. For Yahweh Elohim walketh in the midst of thy camp, to deliver thee, and to give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be kadosh, that he see no unclean thing in thee, and turn away from thee. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. He shall dwell with thee, even among you, in the place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. Thou shalt not oppress him. There shall be no whore among the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite among Bnei Israel.
What?
Yes.
Read that way. What verse are you on? Because this is very important.
17.
17. Thou shalt not be,
There shall no.
There shall no.
There shall be. There shall. Oh, read it. There shall be no whore among. No. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of Bnei of Israel.
Stop. Read it in Hebrew. Yeah, read it in Hebrew. Khalil, read it in Hebrew.
Lo tihye kadesha Mibnot Yisrael, Willow, Yihye, Quadesh, Mibne Yisrael.
Mm-hmm. The word for sodomite, right, is Quadesh. Yes?
Yes.
The word for whore, which they translate into whore, which is actually Zana, they don't use Zana, they use Quadesha, which is the female version of Quadesh. Yes?
No.
So if Quadesh is translated into sodomite, which is, we know, homosexuality, yes?
Yeah.
Shouldn't Quadesha be the female version of homosexuality?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
So what it's telling us here is that it is not okay for women to be with women, and it's not okay for men to be with men.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is another thing that even Israelites fight about this, because there are a lot of Israelite women that want to do madness and want to be justified in their madness. But the law is what it is. That does not bring forth children. Men and women together bring forth children. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
18. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore, or the price of a dog,
23.
into the house of Yahweh Elohim for any vow. Even both these are abomination unto Yahweh Elohim. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother, usury of money, usury of vehicles, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury. That Yahweh Elohim may bless thee in all that thou sendest thine hand to in the land whither thou goest to possess it. When thou shalt vow a vow unto Yahweh Elohim, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for Yahweh Elohim will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee. But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. That which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a freewill offering, according as thou hast vowed unto Yahweh Elohim, which thou hast promised with thy vows.
Remember vows. If you are a daughter in a man's house and you make a vow and your father hears of it, if he denies it that day, it's not held against you. If you are a man's wife and you vow and he hears about it and he denies it, it's not goes against you. If they both allow it, then you are required to do what you vowed. Yes?
Yes.
Now, whenever a man vows, he must pay it. No matter what. There's no one there to rescind or to deny his vow. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
24. When thou comest into thy neighbor's vineyard, then thou mayest eat grapes, thy fill at thine own pleasure, but thou shalt not put any in thy vessel. When thou comest into the standing corn of thy neighbor, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thine hand, but thou shalt not move a sickle unto thy neighbor's standing corn.
You can eat, right? You can eat because we are a communal people. But that is also that man's source of business. That's how he feeds his family. You cannot take his stuff and go sell it. What is that called? Stealing. Yes?
Yes.
We don't do that. But he's going to leave food on the outskirts of his land so that when the people come by that are hungry, they can eat. Because doing that will ensure that Yah will bless him with crops always. This is how our relationship works. If we are humanly to people, then Yah blesses us. You understand? If we are civil and we are helpful and we are loving to each other, then Yah loves upon us. Yes?
Yes.
It's a very simple process, right? Very simple. Who's reading 24?
I. Okay. Debarim.
Wow, this portion, that's a lot of laws in it. Like a lot of things that people fight about. Tamshi.
Debarim Kaf Dalu Aleph. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
When a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her.
Stop. The word for unclean there is what? What is it? Ervat, right? Ervat is not a normal uncleanness, right? Because unclean is what if it's a normal uncleanness? What is it? What's the word for that?
Nita.
Tame. No, nida is time
Oh,
of separation.
tame,
I don't know
right,
what you're
sorry.
talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Tame, right? Tame is a normal uncleanness. Ervat is a very specific uncleanness. It's also talked about when you talk about the uncleanness of uncovering the skirt of your father or the near kin. All of that is a sexual connotation. Okay? So this uncleanness is a indiscretion that the woman he has found out, but he has no proof that she committed adultery. He doesn't have solid proof. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because if he had solid proof, what would happen to her?
She would die.
She would die. He would take her up to the judges, he would bring his proof, and they would have whatever the witnesses or whatever they had, if it was that case, and she would die, right?
Yes.
But in this case, he knows something is off, but he can't prove adultery. So in this case, he can give her a bill of divorce, right? Now, in modern day times, in practical times, if a man has a wife and he sees that she's keeping a conversation with another man and he finds those conversations, that is a right for divorce. If he pops up at her job, if she's working, and he goes to bringing her lunch or whatever, and she does not know that he's there, and he sees her sitting there having lunch with another man, right? And it looks weird, and she doesn't want to tell him what the situation is, that's grounds for divorce. If he comes home and he sees the mailman leaving his house, and he was inside the house, and he does not know what the situation was, and she won't tell him, that is grounds for divorce. Do you understand? Because it is better that you give her a bill of divorce than you kill her. Do you understand? Yes?
Yes.
So, that's why it is written this way. Now, if he comes home and she made him dinner and he doesn't like the dinner, can he give her a bill of divorce?
No.
No, of course not. If she washed his clothes and by mistake put bleach and it ruined one of his shirts, can he give her a bill of divorce? No. We understand the difference, yes? If they get into a little argument and he didn't like what she said, can he give her a bill of divorce? No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But if she is moving in the fashion of a woman who does not respect and honor her husband, he can give her a bill of divorce for this situation. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it is better that he does that. Time sheet. Then let him.
Then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house.
Right. So now, there's a process. He writes her a bill of divorce. That's the first process. And in the bill of divorce is the reason why he's doing this. Yes? Because she gets a copy of this, and she must do what with that from going forward?
Show it to
Any man that comes for her. Yes?
Right.
So he gives it to her in her hand. The second part is he gives it to her in her hand. Then he sends her out of his house. Right? Now, modern day times, it may not work that way. But she is removed from his family. Okay? Removed from his family and from any contact with him anymore. Right? This is what the law says. She is, as they say in your mind, she is dead to him now. Yes? He don't talk to her, that's none of his business anymore. Right? Tumshi.
And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
Stop. Another man can take her if he wants to, right? Now, why does it say that there? Because it's giving you a little understanding. It's telling you that the word edvat is there. We understand that edvat is an indiscretion right? An indiscretion in the marriage. But then it tells you she can go be another man's wife. Why does it say that? Because she usually, in this case, ends up with the same man that you caught her talking to. Do you understand? Yes?
Yes.
Because it was already, that was part of the plan. You understand? So you've already washed your hands and now you're good. You've gotten rid of the evil. Yes? Now she's going to go stay with the man that she was already talking to. These are things that men have to pay attention to. Time sheet.
And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand.
Stop. Because why? Because this is a character flaw in the woman. If she did it to her first husband, she's going to do it to the next man that comes to take her. Do you understand?
Yes.
In the streets, we have a saying. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. It doesn't work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because eventually she's going to show you who she is. So this man got the same treatment the first man got. And he didn't listen. Because in his mind, he saw the bill of divorce. And she ain't going to do this to me. And she did it to you. She did it to you. You were just the next victim. Because remember, it never tells you she goes back to her father's house. That's some fallacy that people teach too in this law. It never tells you that. A man is not going to take his daughter back that was given a bill of divorce for this reason. It's not going to happen. You're not bringing that shame to my house. Go figure it out on your own. Go figure it out. But we got men in Israel that still teach that madness. That, oh, he'll receive her back. And when another man comes for her, he will give her to another man. Do you believe that nonsense? I don't know which men you talking about in the Torah. Show me one. There's no daughter that would ever do this, that would even have the gumption to go back to her father's house. Because he'd be waiting for her there with the biggest strap he can find. Do you understand? There's no way that she would do that. Tumshi.
And sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife. Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled.
Because, and men do this too. Their wives, they divorce their wives, or their wives divorce them in this place. They go and they live their life 5, 10, 15 years later. They realize, nobody really wants me like that. And they get back together. That woman is defiled to you. Because she's been for the streets for the past 15 years. You don't take that back. Men who really fear Yah would never have any contact with that again. That woman is nowhere in their mind again. Because our job is to always be pleasing to the Most High. And you can't be pleasing to the Most High if you're purposely defiling yourself. Yes? Okay, Tamshi.
For that is abomination before Yah, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. When a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken.
Now, 1 year, right?
Right.
We see that in a situation with Uriah. Yes? Okay. The year, that is the time that it says to cheer up your wife is that you go and you try to have a baby. Yes? Because if you go to war, there's a chance you can die. Yes? And you will not have any seed on this earth. Tamshi.
No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of Bnei Israel, and maketh merchandise of him,
Which means what? Human trafficking. Yes? Tamshi.
or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put evil away from among you. Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that thou observe diligently, and do according to all that the Kohanim, the Leviim, shall teach you. As I commanded them, so ye shall observe to
We
do.
remember the laws of leprosy, right? In all fashions. Tamshi.
Remember what Yah, the Elohim, did unto Miriam by the way, after that ye were come forth out of Mitzrayim.
Mm-hmm.
When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. In any case, thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee. And it shall be righteousness unto thee before Yah thy Elohim. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. And at his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto Yah, and it be sin unto thee. The father shall not be put to death for the sons, neither shall the sons be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Stop. This law is another thing that's taught throughout Yisrael erroneously. Okay? This is talking to human judgment. Yes? A human who is a judge cannot punish the son of a man who committed a crime. You understand that? But none of these laws, the Most High is bound by. You understand? So the Most High can punish the 7th generation of a man who committed an atrocity. It's not our business. It's not our business. This is referring to the human judges of the time. If a man commits a crime, he is to be punished. Not his father, not his son. Him directly. Yes?
Yes.
But the Most High don't live. These laws are not for the Most High. These are for us. The Most High can punish whoever he see fit. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshi.
Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Mitzrayim, and Yah thy Elohim redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. When thou cuttest down thine harvest in thy field, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that Yah thy Elohim may bless thee in all the works of thine hands. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Can you or can't you? Alright, so here. But don't you read that every day? Or you do it from your phone?
I do it for the computer.
Now you gotta do it from your computer. Okay. Alright, so do it the way you do it. Who's your keeper?
Debarim. Kaf Hey Wa Aleph. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Ki. Yitye. Reed. Bain. Anashim. We need. Is it we need shoe? We need shoe. El. Hamish pot. Ush patum. Ush patum. With heat. With heat. Diu. How do you say it?
Nah, just be cool.
Cool.
Speak up.
With heat.
Help him to speak up.
It's just be cool.
Alright. With heat. Be cool. Et. Hatzad. Dik. Is that Hatzadik.
Hatzadik. Zadik is righteous. Tamshi.
We hear she Shiu
Shi'u.
Shiu et Harasha we haya im teen
No.
im bean.
No. Im ben
Nas being.
Bing.
Okay.
Okay.
Im bean. Hakot Harasha we he pilo Hasho pate we he kahu lipanao kide rish ato bimim par bimim how do you say that?
Bemis.
Bemis par Ar Ba'im Yakinu Yakenu Lo Yo is it Yosef N Pen Yosef Lehakoto Al Ale
Those are easy words. Come on.
Maka Rabba Winikla Akika Le'eneka
Le'eneka.
What do you do with it?
Okay. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Well, you read the Hebrew every day, you should be getting better. You should be getting better. I'm gonna start listening to you read because you should be getting better. Tamshi.
If there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and
Slow down.
and
And they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. Tamshit.
How do you change this to like one, like the whole thing in English? Two. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down, and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number.
So now, this is lashes. Yes?
Yes.
This is something that he did not, whatever he did was not punishable by death. Tamshi.
3. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest, if he should exceed, and beat him above these with many stripes, Then thy brother shall seem vile unto
Vile.
unto thee.
Right.
4. Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out
Treadeth.
out the corn.
Did you read this?
Yes.
So why are you
Not-
having so much trouble?
Not as much as I normally do.
Why? Don't look at me funny. Why didn't you do it? No, excuse me?
I should-
What? Because you chose not to? And you see that the fruits of that choosing not to is showing, right? Because you should be much better than this.
Yes.
Let's go.
5. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her.
Which means what? Bring forth seed that will be counted as the dead man so that he can have seed on this earth. Yes?
Yeah.
Tamshi.
6. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Yisrael. 7. And if the man not like not to take his brother's.
Read it again. And slow down.
Start from 7.
Yes.
And if the man not like to take his
Stop,
brother's wife.
stop. Read it again.
And if the man like not to take his brother's wife.
You see where you went wrong?
Yes.
Tamshi.
Then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, My husband's brother refuseth to raise up unto his brother a name in Yisrael. He will not perform the duty of thy husband's brother.
Of my husband's brother.
My husband.
Stop.
If it's, do you have to, does it have to be a boy? What if the first one's a girl?
Then you continue till you get a boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she could have 10 daughters. She could have 10 daughters in a row until she has a son. Because the son is the one that's going to carry on the name.
Right.
You. I'm disappointed in how you're reading. You understand me? Tamshit.
Then the elders of his city shall call him, and speak unto him. And if he stand to it, and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and split in his face.
What and what?
And spit in his face.
Spit. You said split. Spit in his face. This is a shame. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshit.
And shall answer and say, So shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house.
So now, what does that mean? His house is in danger, if he even has one. He may not at this point ever have any sons of his own. Do you understand? Tamshit.
10. And his name shall be called in Yisrael, the house of him that hath his shoes loosed.
No, his shoe loosed. So now, which means that that house is a house that is looked upon with shame. Yes?
Yes.
Tamshit.
When man strive to gather one
Together, not to gather, together.
one with another. And
What does that mean? When men strive together. You don't know? What does it mean?
When they fight.
Yeah, why don't you ask any of these questions when you're reading during the week? Excuse me?
I guess I don't think of it. Just
Alright, I don't ever want to hear you say I don't know. You understand? Because you make conscious decisions throughout the week. I told you men can never use that word, I don't know.
Yes.
Tamshit.
Where was it?
We're in the middle of 11.
No.
And the wife.
And the wife.
And the wife of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him,
Speak up.
and putteth forth her hand, and taketh him by the secrets.
So now, Instead of her, she's coming to help her husband, and instead of her banging the dude on the head with a cast iron skillet, she goes and grabs his privacy, which doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? Time sheet.
12. Then thou shalt cut off her hand, thine eye shall not pity her.
So now you cut off her hand. You see that? Time sheet.
13. Thou shalt not have in thy bag divers weights, a great and a small. Thou shalt not have in thine house divers measures, a great and a small. But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which Yah the Elohim giveth thee.
Which means what? You move in righteousness in every aspect of your life. Do you understand? Time sheet.
For all that do such things, and all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto Yah the Elohim. Remember that Abimelech.
Stop.
No,
Look at it again.
is it?
No. You don't have to guess because the word is in front of your face. Read it again.
Amalek.
Read it again.
Amalek.
Yes, read the whole thing again.
Oh, remember that Amalek.
What?
Remember what Amalek did unto thee, by the way, when ye were come forth out of Mizpah.
Stop. What did Amalek do to Bnei Israel?
He came from the back and killed all like
The elders and the women and the children. That's what he did. All right? He was a coward. Time sheet.
18. How he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he fearest not Elohim. Therefore it shall be, when Yah the Elohim hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which Yah the Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek. From under Shemaim, thou shalt not forget it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Listen to me. You know that was atrocious, right? Yes? Say it out loud. Yes, it was atrocious. And it will never happen again. Yes?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Any questions?
No.
Any questions? Because I know as soon as I press pause, you're going to ask a question.